Hey, this is Steven Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Platinum versus Smackdown. This is from April 30th, 2021, a show that ended up being one of great significance and to me a big relief. Last week's show, though I saw a bunch of other wrestling pundits, Brian Alvarez and the like, saying that was one of their favorite Smackdowns. To me, it was a sure sign that they were taking on some of the worst traits of the worst habits of some of the other WWE programming. And it was alarming, but they certainly did a big about face this week. Now, a lot of that hinged upon the very significant Roman Reigns against Daniel Bryan match, but of course it was significant if Daniel Bryan is, if it's to be believed that Daniel Bryan is no longer going to be on SmackDown and that kind of thing. But moreover, that they used everything as a way to build something else, whether it was a match for next week, whether it was a match for WrestleMania Backlash, I hate that title, or just a thing to plant the seed for something later on. This show was about building future shows, as opposed to using one half of the show to promote the other half of the show, or just providing exposition to explain things that had already happened. I also find Pat McAfee really good at the commentary, which is not news, but kind of settling into a good chemistry as well with Michael Cole. So we're at the Yuengling Center in Tampa, Florida. Michael Cole's there. Pat McAfee's there. They hyped tonight's main event, as they've been doing for a week, which is great. I'm sure, I would hope ratings would pan that out as well. We got Bianca Belair coming to the ring, which I think is a really cool way to open up this show. So get that EST chants. Belair's telling us to put our hands together for, and then Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler come out. This is what I mean. It's supposed to be for Bianca Belair, and some people will get mad, but that's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to be mad at the tag champs. And this is a great way to segue them into a thing with the Street Profits. Makes sense to me. And then Bayley comes out, so now she's going to have a thing against Bianca Belair. So we have the Street Profits and Bianca Belair against Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, and Bayley. So they do their thing. The match is good. It's serviceable. And then the Street Profits and Bianca Belair win. Ford gets the win for the Street Profits, which is good because they're the ones who need to show that they've earned the tag title shot. All very logical, all very good. A lot of energy shown by everybody. You can tell that they were having fun out there, and it translates. And I'm not saying, they're not in gimmick, but you can just, there's a certain energy and a verve and a joy that comes across, and it's what you want, particularly in your first match. So good stuff. So we're gonna get the Intercontinental Champ Apollo Crews defending against Big E. Boy, they've still got Big E stuck on Reed for this thing, don't they? Caleb Braxton is backstage with Daniel Bryan asking about the main event. Bryan is excited and he's confident and all that kind of stuff. Bryan says when he does win the Universal title, the first title defense won't be a Reigns rematch. It will go to Cesaro. Typical move from Daniel Bryan in a positive way, right? And also setting up a thing, which is great. Seth Rollins is in the back. He laughs at Daniel Bryan saying he's going to give that shot to Cesaro. Rollins goes on and predicts that Bryan will win tonight. I also like this, when they would have people predict who was going to win, and they often used it as segues to expressing what they desire and where they are likely to go directionally. And I think that, again, it's very smart. So they show everything that's been happening between Tamina Snuka, Natalya, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Reginald, all that nonsense. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler take on Tamina Snuka and Natalya. A match that did not warrant them promoting it in the beginning, which should tell you a lot. of course, Baszler gets pinned. It's a non-title match, and Natalya and Tamina Snuka win. God, it's so shitty. God, it's just so shitty. It's the thing that it really does drag down the show energy-wise and in a bunch of other ways. And I'm sure they're looking for a way out. And they're not taking the quick, fast way out, which is, I guess, something to be admired. Booker T picks Roman Reigns. They hype the match some more, and we go to commercial, and we come back. We're gonna get we get a promo for next week's Throwback Smackdown again. Shinsuke Nakamura is backstage. He predicts Daniel Bryan to win because he has too much to lose. Nakamura will be waiting for Roman Reigns if he retains. Yeah, good luck with that. Kayla Braxton is backstage with Rey Mysterio and Dominic. Are they going to get their SmackDown tag team title shots? They talk about how nice it has been teaming together. He says he's done a lot, but being the first father and son team to hold gold would be legendary. Well, that is a cool little angle there, isn't it? Again, SmackDown just has stuff like that going for it. It's one of those weird things when you do things right, things just sort of, fruit emerges for you, and it becomes much easier to write a show that's well written, which sounds like duh, Steve, but no, it's easier to find things of significance and actual history that you can link to when you're doing things in a correct fashion. And SmackDown shows that most definitely. We got the return of Aleister Black, Tales of the Dark Father, Reality is the name of this chapter, yada yada yada. I'm glad they're giving him these things. Hopefully it translates into Aleister Black certainly should be much happier that he's on SmackDown. I think there's room for him to breathe there. Big E versus Apollo Crews feud. We see a video package on that. Megan Morantz with Big E. Has he changed his strategy? An actual insightful good question. Have you changed your strategy since losing the title? Big E says everyone's asking what he'll do different, but Big E's going to get his baby back. So he doesn't really answer the question, which I think is kind of shitty. I think when you're conscious of your promo, you have to, if you're a babyface, you have to answer the question. I think that's another distinction between babyface and heel. Heels push their agenda. Babyfaces attempt to accommodate somewhat. WWE Intercontinental title match, Big E versus Apollo Crews. They get a commercial in the middle of their match. They keep doing their thing. Big E scoops him up for the big ending at the end, but Aziz breaks the pin by pulling E to the floor for disqualification. Here comes Kevin Owens. Unloads on Aziz. Crews makes the save and drops Owens. Aziz goes to deliver the Nigerian nail to Owens, but Big E makes the save. So, at the end of the day, Sami Zayn also helps. But then Aziz drops Sami with a Nigerian nail, and Crews and Aziz stand tall over Sami. We get a video from The Miz. He predicts Roman Reigns will win, and saying no one on the SmackDown roster can beat Reigns, and definitely Bryan cannot. So they're doing a really good job of making hay about this thing. I mean, they've only had a week to promote it, and this show, they're definitely dedicated. I know you're saying, well, Steve, isn't that using one half of the show to promote the other half? Of course, but like I said, you can do anything if you do it well, and this match certainly warrants this kind of attention. Kayla's backstage with Heyman. Heyman's so tired of hearing about Daniel Bryan, right? He goes on and acknowledges some of those successes. He goes on to say everybody thinks Bryan's going to win and take Roman Reigns' seat. No, Bryan's not going to do this. No. And then we've got the match, and it's a doozy. It's just really great. I was hated to see that they had to take a commercial break in the middle of it, but it is what it is, right? All I can say is this match is definitely worth watching. Eventually, Bryan passes out from the guillotine. And then Roman Reigns is going to destroy him, giving him, sandwiching his hair. He puts his chair beneath his head. I'm not calling that shit what it's called because it's awful. And he's gonna crush Bryan and end him. Cesaro comes and saves, which is a great moment, but then Jey Uso forces him to watch. And it's an incredibly brutal, fitting end. And why I say that is because Daniel Bryan, and I'm going to say that this is probably his call. If you push all your poker chips onto the table metaphorically in big matches. And Bryan lost. He went all in and he lost. So you lose all of those chips. And so it's not enough to just lose the match. He loses it by passing out to the superiority of Roman Reigns' hold. Then he's just destroyed. I mean, you can't give any more chips to Roman Reigns. And Daniel Bryan, he gets this wrestling thing, man. He just gets it. And it's really wonderful. And whoever eventually Roman Reigns loses to, and I could see a scenario where it's Cesaro now, and I wouldn't think that was not worthy. The way that they're building this up, it's really a gift for Cesaro, and it's a gift for SmackDown and the WWE. And Roman Reigns being such a strong character, I think also contributes to that. So SmackDown is definitely one of these shows that's being booked right now. And when you think about it, we've had a pretty good week. I thought NXT was really strong, Impact was strong, SmackDown was strong, and Dynamite was strong. So in reality, the only show that let us down is the show that nowadays always lets us down. And you know which one that is. Sorry to give it to you, Raw.